All right, James, here's the next batch. I would have talked about this when I did a geometry review with you. These three things are all pretty much the same. Let's start with this one. The sine of A is equal to the opposite side over the hypotenuse. The cosine of B is equal to the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. So those two guys are equal to each other. These guys are equal within this triangle. But I don't have to call angle B, B. I could call it 90 degrees minus A, because really what we want is A and 90 degrees minus A to add up to 90 degrees, so that added to this 90 degree angle, we get 180 degrees. So this is really just a different way of saying this. And even though this seems a little different, it really reduces to the same thing. I can take two angles, they don't have to look like they belong with each other, but if they're acute, and if the sine of one of those angles equals the cosine of the other angle, then it has to be true that those two angles add up to 90 degrees. I'm pretty sure you've done unit circle stuff, and on the unit circle you might remember that my value for x, or for cosine down here, switches over to my value for y, or sine, up there. And what's true about these two angles? They add up to 90 degrees. So that's this. So I didn't solve the problem, but it's pretty basic from there. Let me get to it. A equals 4k minus 22. And B equals 6k minus 13. And so 10k minus 35 has to equal 90 degrees. And if you do the math, k equals 12.5. All right, 24 I'm just going to walk you through, because I don't really do 24 algebraically. I do it just by talking you through it. Okay, so the teacher has n milliliters of a solution. He can give each of his kids 3 milliliters. So he's given each kid 3 milliliters, and he's got 5 left over. But he wants to give each kid 4 milliliters, so he wants to go from 3 milliliters to 4, so he needs to give each kid 1 more milliliter. He's got 5 milliliters, whatever they are, milliliters, yeah. He's got 5 milliliters left over. He needs 21 more. And he's going to go from giving each kid 3 to giving each kid 4, and it's going to take a total of 26 milliliters to do that. So there must be 26 students. See if that makes sense to you. But I don't really do it algebraically. I think it's one you just think your way through. All right, then I'm going to do this 126. So even though this may not be a very true depiction of what's going on, at least it gives me a visual. I've got 3 points on a line. I got the origin. I got this point, 2 comma k. I got this point, k comma 32. And what I know about them is that the slope has to stay the same as I go from one point to the next. It's always easy to find the slope when one of your points is the origin, because these two guys, the slope getting from there to there is I went up k in the y direction, and I went over 2 in the x direction. Now I'm going to go from this point to this point, and what's that going to give me? That's going to give me, I went up 32 in the y direction, I went up k in the x direction. I don't like the term cross multiply, but if we use that, we get k squared equals 64. I can take the square root, and I get k, it's really either 8 or negative 8 would be a solution. But they said in the problem what could be the value of k, and the answer that shows up is 8. Okay, that's that. I'm going to stop that video, and then I'm going to send you another one. All right, James.